Hey, in my last video, I showed you guys my inbox in Notion for GTD and how I have my inbox set up and how I see just an easy path to process my inbox. So I wanted to show a little bit more detail about what that looks like and some of the different views and linked databases I have here in this sheet to give you a little bit more information about what's all set up here. So first off, I'll point out that I do have quite a few views on this particular database. And like I said last time, I do think it's the best idea to have all of your tasks, personal, professional, etc., in one database inside of Notion. Other people will do it this way, but some people will want to have their tasks stored in different places. Obviously, you can do what works for you, but the reason this is best is because you're able to show these tasks in different views here or even in different pages in Notion, depending on the different criteria that you set. So that might make more sense as we get a little bit further into this video. But first off, let's go ahead and look at the different views. So first, you'll notice that this view that I'm in now is called process. And this is what I showed in the previous video where I come to process my inbox. And I have quite a few columns here. And I've already gone through this, but this is the view that I will use to process my inbox and clarify what these tasks are, organize them into different places within Notion, and ultimately, just bring clarity to what these things are. So this is my first view, and I'll point out here that the main function that I am using here in this view is the filter function. So if you click filter, you'll see that here, but each one of these has a pretty important purpose. Essentially, what I am saying with all these filters here is I only want to see unprocessed tasks. And so each one of these filters is filtering a different column and state. So just to go through these real quick, I only want to see items where done is unchecked, because if the item is checked done, I don't want to see it here because it's done. It doesn't need to be processed. I also want to see tasks that delegate is empty. So if I've chosen to delegate a task to, let's say, my wife or someone else that I've communicated with on a particular task, I will set the delegate field to be that particular person. So let's say I delegate this to my wife. It's immediately going to disappear. And that's because of this filter function. So anytime the delegate field is filled out, an item will be removed from this particular view. Now on that, before we go to any of the other filters, I wanted to show you how this is most helpful. Now that item obviously still exists. It didn't delete it. So if I pop over here to my views, I can go to delegated/waiting on. And when I click on that, you will see load dishwasher. I delegated that to my wife, and so it's now showing in this view. So I don't need to worry about looking at my delegated tasks, or if I'm waiting on somebody else to complete them. I can review these periodically, whether it's in a daily or weekly review, but I don't need to be seeing those in my next actions list because there's no action for me to take on it. So we'll go back to process here and look at some other filters that I have set. The other option here is stuff, what is it contains. I don't think I need this one. I think that's just an accident. And next action is not checked. So this is another helpful one. When I'm done processing in my inbox, all over here to the far right, I have a checkbox that's called next action. And that's just a place that I am able to openly say, hey, this item has been fully processed. I haven't delegated it. I haven't trashed it. I haven't put it in reference. I've decided that I am going to do it. It's clarified, but I want to go ahead and remove it from my process list. And so I'll check a box. Next action, and as you know, that item disappeared. And so anything as action checked will not show here. We'll go on to my next filter. Trash is not checked. Hold is not checked, and reference is not checked. These are all essentially the same as next action. If any of these checkboxes are checked, including done, the item will disappear from this view. Because if I've decided an item is trash, or I've decided that it's reference, or if I'm going to put it on hold to review later, if it's done, or if I've decided to put it on my next action list, it will remove it from this view because it is considered processed. I've already decided what it is. I don't need to do any processing. So that should explain all the checkboxes. And before we look at any further filters, I did want to go into each of the views that I have for each of those process checkboxes. So if you look here, you can see next actions work and next actions home. And so next actions work is going to be any item, let's go to the filters, any item that's not done, it is a next action, and its context contains work. So that will show me any task where I've set next action, it's not completed, but it is an out task. And so again, this is going to show any task that I've clarified and processed, and is the next action for work. Same thing for home. The only difference is these are all my at-home tasks. And an interesting thing here is, let's say you have a task like setting up my stereo at my desk. I'm working from home right now, so I could theoretically do this while I'm at work. I could also add at work here. This task is going to show up in my at work list right here. And again, it's all based on filters. So essentially, if you have no filters set in a view, it's just going to show everything. That should be pretty straightforward, but that's just one thing I wanted to clarify. So these filter options and views are really powerful in a master database that you might make for tasks. Same thing here with hold for review. These are my items that I don't want to deal with right now. I just want to review them later. So in my weekly review, come to this list, look at the item, decide if I want to do it, clarify it further, maybe schedule it. And reference, same deal, completed. I have a couple more views here, all incomplete and all items just as reference if I want to look at all my items, which I don't do very often, or if I want to look at all of my incomplete tasks together, I can in one place. And so that's just a quick walkthrough of what different views I have in my next action database and how the filters and the actions I take when processing an item affect where these items show up inside of my database. So I hope that's helpful. I know that the last video I did was very quick, so I wanted to dive in a little deeper here. And I'll go into some of this, more of these pieces here in another video coming up soon.